Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, hello, nice to meet you. And if you've been here before, welcome on back. If you are not already, please take a moment to make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. We have a very cozy video today. I've got the fire going, as you can see. I've got a lovely candle lit, and I'm having some peppermint tea. Those of you in summertime are probably thinking, that looks warm, but September is here, and September means fall is here. So maybe I'm just getting you excited for autumn. I'm definitely excited for spring to come here in New Zealand. You can definitely feel it. Some of the days that pass right now, you're like, I can feel spring in the air. I think the official kickoff day of spring here in New Zealand is September 28th, so really close. I posted on my community page on YouTube and also on my Instagram stories for you guys to send in some questions for today's Q&A. I got some really great questions, so I'm just gonna randomly pick some when I see one that's interesting, and I'm gonna go ahead and answer them for you guys. Before I get into the questions, please take a moment to make sure that you give this video a thumbs up if you are enjoying my content right now, if you're enjoying my channel, if you're liking the 2 videos a week, let me know by giving it a thumbs up. We are going to start off with a bang. This question is from Kira, and she says, do you feel like you as a person have changed since moving countries? I like this question because it allows me to sit back, reflect, and think about this journey so far. And although it feels like my life has shifted so quickly and dramatically, it also feels like the process has been very drawn out and has taken quite a while. So it's interesting how you can kind of have both of those feelings in one. We had so much preparation before moving countries, and there's been so much preparation and sorting out when we got here. It feels quick, but it also feels like there's just been a lot of ups and downs along the way, as you guys know who have been following along on my videos since we moved here and since before we moved here. When I think about how I've changed as a person from moving countries, I think the first thing that comes to mind is that I think I'm more courageous than I ever was before, that I'm more willing to take a risk or a leap of faith to kind of shift my life in a direction that I want to. I think it can be really easy as human beings to become just okay with what our lives are at the moment. And I think that obviously that's okay if that's what you feel and want to do. But I think as human beings, we have a lot of dreams and aspirations, and we're curious. And I think that tapping into that curiosity and allowing yourself to experience the things that you wonder about, what would it be like to live in another country? What would it be like to travel there? What would it be like to shift my career? Whatever these things are that we think about, I feel like this journey has inspired me, myself, to go out and take leaps of faith, because you just learn so much in the process and you make new connections. And I just feel like I've changed so much, and I know more now, but I'm also more courageous than I've ever been before to take those leaps of faith. I think this next question is a great one to follow up with the one that I just answered. And this is from M. Lynn Crew, and it's best piece of advice you've received or you would give about following big dreams. You are inspiring me so much, Carrie. Well, first off, thank you. And second of all, I would say that it's not always going to be easy. I think when you follow big dreams, especially when I was posting this journey online, I decided that I wasn't only going to show the easy parts of the moving process. I wanted to show the ins and outs. I showed you guys how we didn't get accepted on the first 2 houses we put an offer in on. I showed kind of how the process of getting Lanka here wasn't the easiest, and that there are going to be good days and bad days and hard times, and sometimes I'm going to miss people and things like that. So when you're going after your big dream, whether it be moving countries, whether it be changing your career, whether it be, going through a huge breakup because you know it's the right thing, there are so many simple things that we decide to do as human beings that can be big changes and big dreams. Especially going after, let's say you want to be an actor and you start going to auditions. Those are terrifying big dreams. Sometimes you have a dream to do something, but you're not even 100% sure if you want to embody everything that big dream entails. And that's so courageous to say, you know what, I want this and I'm terrified of everything that comes with it, but I want this anyways. Even falling in love can be that way. And so I think that just knowing that it's not going to be everything that you want it to be, and that there are going to be hard times along the way. But what matters is if it's worth it to you, if what's on the other side is worth it, and if learning along the way is worth it to you. Maybe it doesn't pan out to be everything that you envision it to be. Maybe it doesn't end up being everything you've dreamed up, but you're willing to look at the scenario and the steps along the way and say, okay, I'm learning from this, and this is getting me closer to who I'm supposed to be because I'm listening to my intuition, I'm listening to my heart, and I'm giving it a try. And at least I'm trying, because if I don't try, I'm going to always wonder what if. And I think that that's something that I always think about. I'm like, I want to know if you hear the creaks in the house, it's because it's a lockwood, so it's all made of wood, and the wood shifts as the weather changes. So that's part of this. If the framing or the light or anything looks a little bit different, it's because I just took a quick lunch break. I only got through 2 questions and I was like, I'm hungry. So I just had some tacos for lunch and they were delicious. Thank you for asking. That last question, going for big dreams, just to wrap it up, pursue it, but know that there are going to be hard times along the way. And if it's worth pursuing to you, then dealing with the hard times along the way are worth it. My next question is from Simone Childs, and she says, what is something about the New Zealand culture that you want to share with the world? I think that it's the lifestyle and kind of the community aspect. I think being an American and coming from the US, it feels like the culture in the US is very individualistic. Everybody's kind of looking out for themselves. And I got a lot of questions about how does lockdown in New Zealand compare to lockdown in the US. So I'm kind of going to answer both of those questions here about the culture and what I value and want to share with the world, and then also about the differences between the lockdowns. Because if you didn't know, we are in lockdown here in New Zealand. If you didn't watch my last video, where we currently are, have 4 more days of lockdown, maybe only 3 more days now, yes. And then Auckland has probably about 5 more days. They were extended a bit longer because that's where most of the cases are, also in Wellington, but there are a lot less in Wellington. That being said, the difference really feels like everybody's kind of cooperating and kind of looking out for each other. Like if we all cooperate, then we can stamp this out and go back to living life as normal, because over the last 8 months or so, there hasn't really been any issues with COVID, and we've been able to live life as normal since we've moved here. I think a major difference there is kind of that we're a community, let's do this all together. Just like the Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said in her live the other day, you know, she calls New Zealand the team of 5 million, and it does really feel that way. It does feel like a team. Comparing to, you know, coming from the US as an American, it can feel, like I said, just really individualistic. Everybody's kind of looking out for themselves and their family, and it doesn't always feel like a team, unfortunately. And I think something about New Zealand culture that I really value is the lifestyle, and that work doesn't define you, and that living your best life means actually enjoying life and kind of playing as much as you possibly can when you're not working. I think in the US, what defines you is your work, and the more you work, the better your life will be. The way New Zealanders look at having a great life is if you're able to enjoy life. Americans, I feel like, look at life as like, if you have a high-paying job, then you have a really great life. Obviously, that's like general, but that's just kind of being an American and coming from the US and living here for as long as I have, and just experiencing the culture and talking to friends and family here. It's not all about work. and work doesn't define who you are, which I really value. The next question is from Emily Jimley from Instagram. She says, a lot of my students want to be creators or YouTubers in the future. Advice? This is crazy to me, that I actually saw a statistic that said that most young kids these days, when asked what they want to be when they get older, they say a YouTuber, which I think is really cool but very unexpected, to be honest, because when I started my YouTube channel, I hid it from everybody because everybody thought it was so strange that I was making videos on the internet. And I didn't tell any friends or family that I had started doing it because I didn't really realize that it could be a career, but it very well can be a career, and you can actually do quite well doing it. My biggest piece of advice would be for somebody to go into it for the right reasons. I think that there's a lot of creator burnout in the community because I think people end up realizing that they don't really like the process of making videos because it's actually quite a bit of work to film a video, make sure that you're filming it correctly, then bringing that footage onto your laptop, having the right equipment to edit it, editing the video, and just there's a lot that's involved with it. And then there's the upload process, there's the thumbnail process, the title of the video, the description, and all of that kind of stuff. From A to Z, it takes quite a bit of work to get one YouTube video up. And although I love what I do so much, I went into it not really realizing that it was gonna be my career. So I was doing it because I wanted to, and I just wanted to create videos. I've always loved entertaining, and that's why I did acting in my life. And I always loved photography and film, and kind of being self-taught. I really love learning new things, and I think the combination of all of those things led me to do what I do now. We don't always love anything when it becomes our work, right? There are days where I'm like, oh, I gotta edit this. You know, I'm not always like, yeah, I can't wait, but there is a big part of me that loves the creative process. So if I ever do feel burnt out by it, I just allow myself to kind of have that ebb and flow of a break. And that's what's so beautiful about doing this, is that you are in charge of your own schedule. So when you really don't feel like doing something, then you don't have to, because nobody's telling you you have to, unless you're working on a sponsored job, where in that case, you know, you have a little bit of flexibility, but for the most part, you're on deadlines. Another thing I'd say about being a YouTuber or content creator in general, okay, there's all of these tasks like I mentioned before, but then there's also the creative mindset that you kind of have to come up with new things all the time. So it's about being willing to brainstorm creatively and think about things that you want to do that fulfill you, and then also what your audience wants to see, and those kind of have to collide a bit. I also think that slow and steady growth is amazing. So if you're somebody who wants to be a content creator and you feel like you're growing really, really slowly, but you're seeing your engagement rise, remember that that's really where you want to be. I think that a lot of people may grow dramatically due to a specific video that they made. What happens with that is that you get pigeonholed into this type of content, and maybe it's not the stuff that you want to be creating all the time. And I think slow and steady growth is really nice because you slowly build your engagement, and you have people who are subscribing who care about what you're creating, and they're not there to just see one specific thing from you, because that can really cause burnout. So create what you want to, and if you're growing slow and steady due to creating what you want to make, then you're on the right path. I got a lot of questions about the house and when we are moving in and when we are going to start renovations, all that kind of stuff. This one's from Marty Solback, and she says, when will you start working on the house? We are supposed to move into the house on September 1st. As we speak, today is August 24th. We are currently in lockdown here in New Zealand, which has now been extended to the 27th. So we were supposed to do a walkthrough on the house on the 26th. Obviously, that's not happening anymore. That's been postponed. If we go to level 3, because right now we're in level 4 of New Zealand lockdown, which means you just stay put. You don't do anything but go to the grocery store if you need to. If we get the go ahead on the 27th that yes, we've moved down to level 3, then nothing will really change for us. We can move in on September 1st, just like we had planned to. The moment we move into the house though, we will start working on it, doing renovations, painting, cleaning, all of that good stuff. So it'll be like immediate. The next question is from Iman MD, and they asked a recommended book. The book that I recommend for you guys is The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. I can't wait to read more from this author. I love the way she told the story. I loved the characters that she created. I loved that it was heartbreaking and thrilling, but also melted your heart in lots of ways. It was just a good story. I loved the way it ended. I love that it kind of kept you on your toes a lot, especially towards the end of the book. And it was just good. I loved the story overall. Highly recommend. I'll put a link to it if I can find it on Amazon in the description box for you guys. My next question is from Miranda's Paradise, and they ask, what is your tattoo and the meaning of it? My tattoo is on my left wrist. I've definitely talked about this on my channel before, but it's probably been a while and maybe only once. It's in Thai. I got it when I was 18 traveling through Thailand. I've always really loved to travel whenever I could. Even when I was working in banking and I was young, I would take my 2 weeks off and I'd go travel somewhere. I would take my tax returns and just travel to different countries. I feel like travel has really helped create who I am today, and it has taught me so much about the world. And I got this on my first travel as an adult. Like, I've obviously been to Venezuela when I was young with my family, but this was like my first time as an adult traveling the world and seeing other cultures. And I think at 18 I was also going through a lot of questions in life, like who will I become, who do I want to be, what do I see my future being. And being the Virgo that I am, I've always wanted to figure things out. And I think that this tattoo, the meaning of it just kind of told me to like let life be the way that it's going to be and allow things to kind of unfold as they will. And so whenever I'm stressed or trying to make things become the way I want them to be, and I look down at this tattoo, I always remember to let it be. And I also really like the Beatles song, so that's just a plus. This next question is from BMO Conscious, and they said, have you made friends in New Zealand? How do you intend to make new friends? I have made new friends in New Zealand. One friend particularly who knows some of my deepest secrets that some other friends don't know. I've met some really cool girls here. Also guys that I really like as well. But I have made friends here, and I hope to make more friends here. And I think that people are really kind here, and I've had 2 friends of mine check up on me in lockdown and say like, hey, how are you? How are you doing? One of them FaceTimed me, and we went on a trip with my friend and her 2 little girls and her husband, and we just had such a good time with them, and we spent like 2 or 3 days with them, and it was just so fun. I met her through another mutual friend who lives in LA, who I used to work with, and he was like, oh, we're moving to New Zealand, like you should meet my friend. And so we just got along really well, and she's wonderful. And then another friend I met when Alex and I were just out for drinks we were having dinner, and then we went and had a drink by the lake during sunset, and this couple asked us what Lanka was. They were like, what kind of dog is that? And we just got on with them well, and they've stayed with us here at the house, and we really, really like them too. We can't wait to hang out with them more when lockdown's over. And yeah, it's been cool that we really have made quick friendships here, and I hope to deepen those friendships and also make new friends too. Chris Miss T asks, one thing you would do differently if you had to move to New Zealand again. If I had to move to New Zealand again and bring Lanka, I would start his process earlier. So if you're thinking of moving abroad, if you're specifically thinking about moving to New Zealand, start the process of getting your dog or your pet ready before you even start your process. It takes so much paperwork, so many different vet appointments, and we started 6 months earlier. It wasn't even enough time. We should have started a year earlier, to be honest. He wasn't ready to come when we were. We had to wait another month for him to even get here. And I mean, it was like a full-time job, and I have flexibility with my work, so I was able to work on bringing him to vet appointments and doing all that kind of stuff during the week and calling different people and like switching around my schedule like that. I couldn't even imagine if you had to be in an office 9 to 5, how you would have dealt with all of that preparation within a 6-month process. So absolutely, if I went through that whole thing again, I would start Lanka and his process way earlier. The next question is from Jenna_Ross. Does any of your family plan on visiting you in New Zealand, or do you have plans to visit them soon? Due to the borders being closed here in New Zealand and only open for citizens coming home and doing managed isolation, nobody can come to New Zealand right now. But the plan is, as soon as it's available for vaccinated people, individuals who want to come in, or whatever the border restrictions will be, to be able to figure out a way for my mom to definitely come. She keeps saying like how much she wants to come. And I mean, I talk to her all of the time. I miss her so much. I know a couple of friends that want to come to New Zealand as soon as it's available to do so as well. So we just kind of have to wait this thing out, kind of like other places in the world. I know a lot of people are just traveling anyways. Obviously, New Zealand has had a different opinion on how they want to handle things, and they kind of put the safety of the people at the forefront. I think that a lot of places are opening up due to business reasons. For New Zealand, it's kind of always been, let's lock down hard and fast so that we can save people's lives. And so at this time, we don't know. I've heard stories about maybe next year, at the beginning of the year, things are gonna change with the border, but no one really knows. My camera died, so I just had to charge it. To answer the question, yes, I can't wait for people to be able to come to New Zealand, and I can't wait to go back and visit family as well and friends back in the US and in California. It'll be fun and interesting to be visitors there. I feel like we'll hit up all of our favorite spots and it'll be fun. We have to wait a bit though. I don't see anything happening until next year. So that all being said, I'm going to end the Q&A here. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you're subscribed to my channel, and I'll have a new video for you all very soon. If there's anything in particular that you want to see from me, comment below your video requests. Because I'm filming 2 videos a week right now, I have a lot more videos to come up with, and I want to be creating the things that you guys want to see. So comment below what you want to see from me. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.